So you want to main Chang'e, Fairy of the Moon. Not always born in the crucible of creation, sometimes gods ascend by tragic happenstance. Such is the tale of Chang'e, goddess of the moon. First, ask yourself, why do you want to main Chang'e? Her abilities feel so smooth, like you're dancing. She has a rabbit that can buy things from base for her. And if you're lazy like me, that is a real big benefit. She has large AoE abilities. She has immunity, practically avoiding a lot of stuff. But before you main her, it's good to know the cons of Chang'e. Her damage isn't really bursty. She is very mana hungry. In this guide, we're going to go through Chang'e as a mid and solo, going through her abilities, attack cancelling, combos, builds, counters, what not to do, and general combat tips. With that, let's go through her abilities. Chang'e's passive Jade Rabbit. Chang'e can purchase or sell items from anywhere and her Jade Rabbit will fetch them. When the rabbit returns to her, the transaction completes. Only one item can be purchased or sold at a time. This part of the passive does not work in the game mode Assault. Chang'e also gains 25% movement speed with no backpedal penalty when using her dances. Pretty cool passive. Because of this passive, Chang'e doesn't need to go back to base as much as other gods. Chang'e's first ability, Crescent Moon Dance. Chang'e's one is an arc ability type. Chang'e flings a crescent moon in an arc, dealing damage to all enemies in its path. This ability is her main damage. Chang'e's second ability, Moonlit Waltz. Chang'e's 2 is an area ability type. Chang'e performs an evasive spin dance. She is unable to be hit by anything during this action. For each tick of damage from an ability or basic attack that was avoided, Chang'e restores mana to herself and her allies. This ability is basically a free Aegis and beads, but it cannot be used while she's stunned, silenced, or knocked up. I recommend putting this ability on quick or instant cast. Chang'e's third ability, Moonflower Dance. Chang'e's 3 is an area ability type. Chang'e twirls around healing herself and all nearby allies. Enemies hit by this twirl are damaged. This ability also reduces the healing of nearby enemies. This ability is stronger for damage more than healing. Chang'e's ultimate, Waxing Moon. Chang'e's ultimate is a line ability type. Chang'e deals damage and stuns enemy gods in front of her. For each god she stuns, the stun will be longer. Basically, the stun is 1 second plus 1 second for each god stunned. This ability is great setup and damage. For the first 5 levels, you can do it 2 ways. For her 2, you don't necessarily need it early, and that comes down with playstyle and what kind of enemy you're up against in the solo or mid lane. I would recommend leveling her 2 a bit later in the early game if you're not struggling against your opponent. For better damage and clear, at level 1, her 1, at level 2, her 3, at level 3, her 1, at level 4, her 3, at level 5, her ultimate, at level 6, her 2. If you would like the 2 early, then I would suggest at level 1, her 1, at level 2, her 3, at level 3, her 1, at level 4, her 2, at level 5, her ultimate. For leveling priority, her 1 for damage, her 3 for damage and heals, her ultimate for damage, her 2 for cooldown reduction and mana restoration. Attack cancelling on Chang'e. Attack cancelling allows for some extra basic attack damage to come through. This isn't mandatory to do. For her first ability, her 1 on quick cast, as soon as you use your basic attack, use her 1. For her third ability, her 3 on quick cast or instant cast, as soon as you basic attack, use her 3. For her ultimate on quick cast, as soon as you basic attack, use her ult. Combos for Chang'e. Before we get into combos, a few pointers. Remember that her 3 has an anti-heal on it. I recommend using your 3 first if you're against gods like Sylvanas, Chang'e, any god that will heal. Her 2 doesn't go into combos. It's very situational and it's basically a free beads and Aegis. Use it when you need to. Her 2 also gives back mana for the damage she avoided. You can use this strategically but it does leave you without your immunity if you do use it purely for mana purposes. You can also incorporate basic attacks in between combos. Her ultimate is very situational. Chang'e is generally built with cooldowns and her ultimate is usually up a lot. I recommend to not hold her ultimate back selfishly. She can really set up a lot of things for her teammates with her ultimate. For short combos, 1 and 3, an anti-heal combo, 3 and 1. For full combos, 4, 1, 3, 4, 3, 1. Builds for Chang'e. Builds always depend on what kind of enemy you're up against. My builds in this video is just a general guideline. You can adjust accordingly depending on your game and situations. For a solo build, Mage's Blessing, Shoes of Focus, Breastplate of Valor if you're against a physical opponent, Genji's Guard if you're against a magical opponent, Voidstone if you need more magical defense first, Lotus Crown if you need more physical defense first. And you want to pick up both of these items. Rod of Asclepius. Items you can consider but not limited to are Spirit Robe for defense, cooldown reduction, Magi's Cloak since I don't usually pick up beads because of my second ability, Divine Ruin if you need anti-heal. I will also give you a damage build, but I do recommend building some sort of defense on Chang'e. She can be killed very easily. Also, if you're playing solo in Conquest, I recommend not building her pure damage at all. Mage's Blessing, Shoes of Focus, Warlock Sash, Soul Gem, Spear of the Magus, Chronos Pendant. Other items you can consider but not limited to are Lotus Crown, Spirit Robe, Soul Reaver, Gem of Isolation, Rod of Asclepius, Pythagorean's Piece, Ethereal Staff. For relics, it always is game dependent. If you're going against an enemy with a lot of CC and ultimates you need to Aegis, consider picking up Aegis or beads. Meditation is a great item for Chang'e. This item allows her to stay in lane longer without needing to go back to base. Magic Shell is another great relic for her in solo, depending on what enemy you're up against. Heavenly Wings is another relic for her, and generally a good relic to have when you're a god with heals. Counters of Chang'e. Chang'e is heavily countered by Cursed Ankh. This item reduces her healing by 50% for 10 seconds, and on its upgraded tier, it will increase the damage taken by 20% from all sources on allies who are healed while affected by the curse. This item and using Chang'e's heal can really cost you a team fight. Chang'e's heal is countered by anti-heal items such as Pestilence, Brawler's Beatstick, Divine Ruin. If playing Conquest, stealing Chang'e's blue will make it hard on her. She's very mana hungry early game and heavily relies on the blue buff. Having her 2 down, it can be easy to bait out Chang'e's second ability. Without her 2, she's very vulnerable. Chang'e is easy to bully out of lane. She's easy to gank. Odin hard counters Chang'e. What not to do as Chang'e. Do not selfishly hold your ultimate. It can do so much for your team. Do not use her 2 on everything. Yes, it's a free beads and Aegis, but it's a waste to use it on, for example, an enemy's basic attack or low damage ability. Do not put yourself in bad positions. Chang'e doesn't really have a direct escape. Some Chang'e players tend to hold the ultimate to try and stun as many enemies as possible. Do not always do this. Sometimes just stunning 1 or 2 enemies can make a big difference in a fight. Do not play Chang'e as a support competitively. She's just not good as a support at all. I would only do this in Conquest if you just want to have fun and you're in a party with friends. When ulted on by Ares, for example, do not use your 2 straight away. Some ultimates have wind-up time. Do not use your 2 mindlessly. Tips for Chang'e. Other than using your ultimate to help set up your combos, you can also set up team fights. You can use your ultimate to help yourself and allies escape. Try to keep your rabbit active. I always send my rabbit to buy wards when I don't have enough money to buy the next item or tier of an item. Remember that your 3 has an anti-heal. When I'm against other healers, I tend to use my 3 first on them before my 1. Remember, she has no backpedal and gains 25% movement speed when using her abilities. This kind of makes it feel like she's dancing around enemies. When escaping from an enemy, feel free to spam your 1 and 3 as much as you can. Remember, your passive gives you movement speed. Chang'e has close ranged abilities. This makes it a bit risky for her when she's clearing wave. Be cautious when you're clearing against your enemy. You're usually in range of their attacks. You can also heal your minions with your 3 when clearing wave. This makes it harder for the enemy to clear early game. And that is all for the Chang'e guide. If you would like to request a god guide, or simply just to support me, you can find a coffee donation link in the description box below. Let me know what god you would like to main next in the comments. Subscribing and likes would be super rad, clicking the bell really helps me out. I hope to see you for the next one. Bye!